Okay, folks, welcome to another exciting episode of Earth. We're up here in geostationary orbit, but we're having some transmission issues. Anyone else having trouble with their equipment?
Yeah. My computer keeps freezing up. I can't get any work done.
Same here. My communicator keeps cutting out.
I bet it's the new software update. It's always causing
That
problems.
could be a possibility, but it could also be sabotage.
Sabotage? What do you mean, Roger?
Yeah, who would want to sabotage our mission?
Maybe it's that rival company that was blackmailing Charlie last season.
Did someone say blackmail?
Debbie, we're trying to have a conversation here.
We
Sorry.
need to investigate this. We can't have our equipment malfunctioning like this.
But how do we investigate without tipping off the saboteur?
Maybe we should all keep an eye out for any suspicious activity.
Yeah. And if we find any evidence, we should report it to Carl and Roger.
Good idea, Bob. Let's get to the bottom of this and make sure our mission isn't compromised.
I'll keep an eye out too.
Debbie, you're not even an official crew member.
I know, but I still want to help.
This is going to be a long day.
Welcome back to 24/7 Newsroom. I'm Charlie, your libertarian host with a hopeful outlook on life.
And I am Bob. The conservative panel member was spent 12 years on Earth as an accountant.
And I'm Alice, the left-leaning panel member who considers humans an inferior species.
Oh, excuse me, but before we start, can we talk about the transmission issues we've been having? It's affecting the quality of the
Oh,
broadcast.
great. The human wants to talk about technical issues. How about we let the aliens handle that? Debbie?
Bob, be nice. We all know Debbie is the best production manager we could ask for.
Yeah, she's our only human crew member, but she's an important part of the team.
Well, as long as Debbie keeps her human hands away from the equipment, everything should work
Thank
smoothly.
you, guys. But seriously, we need to figure out what's causing the transmission issues.
Don't worry, Debbie. We'll take a look at it after the show. Now, let's get to our first article.
Mason Dairy Company in Oman is categorically denying rumors about recalling its products from markets.
Well, that's a relief. I was worried about my daily dose of Omani dairy.
I guess it's time to switch to Earth's questionable milk alleys.
But in all seriousness, Mason Dairy Company is committed to the highest standards of food safety and quality, and the rules of fair competition.
It's good to see a company taking responsibility and fighting back against false
Or
rumors.
maybe they are just trying to serve first after a major recall.
Charlie. Always the cynic.
Oh, did you guys know that Oman is known for its traditional dagger called the khanjar?
That's great, Debbie. But we're in the middle of a discussion here. Maybe save that trivia for later.
Sorry. I just thought it was interesting.
It is interesting, Debbie. Thanks for sharing. But let's stick to the article for now. Welcome back. We have a juicy article to discuss today, but first let's introduce ourselves. I'm Charlie, your favorite libertarian host.
I am Bob. The conservative panel member. I've been an accountant on Earth for 12 years.
And I'm Alice, the left-leaning panel member. Humans may be an inferior species, but they do have
And
their
I'm glad
moments.
we get to talk about one of those moments today. The New Times is reporting that a Sri Lankan was fined MK200 in Malawi for dealing in foreign currency.
This is a serious offense. Foreign exchange laws exist to protect a country's economy.
But, as we all know, laws can be twisted and misused by those in power to benefit themselves.
Speaking of power, did you know that Malawi is one of the world's poorest countries? But it's also the warm heart of Africa.
Warm Heart of Africa? That's just a slogan. It doesn't change the fact that Malawi's economy is in shambles.
But it's important to remember that Malawi has made strides in improving its economic situation. In fact, it was one of the few African countries to experience economic growth during the COVID-19 pandemic.
And there you have it, folks. A little bit of country trivia to brighten your day. But let's not forget the punchline: if you're going to break the law, make sure it's not in Malawi.
Because the punishment there is like being stuck in a courtroom with a lawyer who never went to law school. Good one, Charlie.
I have to admit, that made me chuckle.
Well, that's all the time we have for this segment. Stay tuned for more 24/7 Newsroom after the break. Welcome back to 24/7 Newsroom, the show where we take a break from our cosmic adventures to bring you the latest news from the blue planet below. Joining me today are Bob and Alice.
Hey there.
Good to be here.
Our next story takes us to the land of the ancient Aksumite Empire. Bob, what's the story?
Well, Charlie, the Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation is reporting that the Prime Minister is taking new measures to address youth unemployment and foreign currency exchange challenges in Ethiopia.
Wow, that's quite a mouthful. Alice, what do you think about this?
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be great. Just like every other government program that's going to magically solve all our
But here,
problems.
at least we can always count on politicians to deliver on their promises, right?
Hey, now, I am sure they have good intentions.
Let's not get too political here. Guys, it's time for our country trivia segment. Did you know that Ethiopia is the only country in Africa to have never been colonized?
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, but can they get a job with the Yeko?
Nice one, Bob. But in all seriousness, these measures do seem like a step in the right direction. What do you think, Alice?
I don't know, Charlie. It just seems like a band-aid solution to a much deeper problem.
Fair point. And with that, we'll be right back after this commercial break. Alright, folks, it's time to lighten things up a bit. We've got Article 4 coming all the way from Algeria.
Oh, here they have some pretty interesting dairy farmers over there.
Can we focus on the news for once?
Alright. So, apparently, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in Algeria has been redirecting milk deliveries to protect dairy farmers and producers.
That's some intense dedication to the dairy industry.
I guess you could say they are utterly committed to it.
It's a shame they had to fire someone for not doing their job properly. But I suppose that's how it goes in this dog-eat-dog society.
Speaking of dogs, did you know that Algeria is home to the Barbary macaque? They are a type of monkey.
I bet they make some good cheese too.
Can we stay on topic, please?
Alright. So, what do you guys think about the ministry's actions?
I think it's great that they're protecting their farmers. That's the kind of dedication that's been lost in our society.
It's a band-aid solution. The real issue is the exploitation of farmers by big corporations. Until that's addressed, action like these will only provide temporary relief.
Wow, we've got some strong opinions here. But let's lighten the mood again. Did you know that Algeria has the highest point in Africa? It's called Mountain Tokal.
I wonder if they make cheese up there.
You two are impossible.
Well, that's all the time we have for Article 4. Stay tuned for more news after this quick commercial break. Welcome back, folks. Time to dive into some global news. And what better place to start than Myanmar, formerly known as Burma? Did you know that Myanmar is the largest producer of jade in the world? They have got rocks for brains over there.
Whoa, Charlie. That joke was a real gem. Charlie, that's not a nice thing to say.
Speaking of rocks, did you know that there's a tradition in Myanmar where men wear long skirts called longi?
It's actually a practical piece of clothing, providing air circulation and making it easier to move around in the heat.
And yet, humans in Western culture still refuse to wear skirts, because of some outdated gender norms.
Speaking of outdated, how about the fact that Myanmar still uses its own unique time zone, which is 30 minutes behind neighboring countries? What are they stuck in the past?
I don't think that's fair, Charlie. Time is relative, and different cultures have
That's
their own
true,
ways of
Debbie.
measuring it.
And speaking of culture, did you know that Myanmar is home to over 130 different ethnic groups?
That's a lot of diversity for one country. Reminds me of my time as a spy. Always looking for the differences that set people apart.
And yet, it's those very differences that can lead to conflict and division.
True, but it's also the recognition and celebration of those differences that can lead to understanding and unity.
That's deep, Carl. Speaking of deep, did you know that Myanmar is home to one of the deepest caves in the world? The HKA Andong Cave System. It's over 300 meters deep.
That's impressive. And speaking of impressive, did you know that Myanmar is home to the largest book in the world? The Kutodo Pagoda?
Wow, that's a lot of reading material. Reminds me of my old job at the Department of Defense. Always poring over reports and
yet,
intel.
it's the knowledge and information contained in those reports that can shape the course of history.
Speaking of shaping history, let's get back to the article. The Chinese foreign minister recently visited Myanmar, and there are concerns about instability in the country.
Well, let's hope the Chinese foreign minister doesn't cave under the pressure.
It's important for all parties to work within constitutional and legal frameworks to resolve differences.
That's right, Carl. And with that, we'll have to end this segment. Stay tuned for more news after the break. Palestine's Eggplant Festival, a celebration of culture or a reminder of occupation. That's our next topic. So, the festival celebrated the cultural heritage of Palestine, but it also had a political aspect. What are your thoughts on this, Bob?
Well, I think it's great that the festival supports local farmers and their products. But it's unfortunate that they have to deal with Israeli occupation measures.
I agree with Bob. It's a shame that the farmers have to deal with these challenges. But I also think it's important to celebrate and promote their culture.
Yes, and it's important to remember the context of the festival. The land belongs to the farmers, and they should be able to continue to work on it without interference. This has been an ongoing issue for decades, and it's not getting any better.
Excuse me, everyone. I've conducted another round of interviews, and I'm confident that the saboteur is someone else.
That's good to hear, Debbie. We can't let their actions disrupt our
Agree.
mission.
And with that, we come to the end of this episode. We've discussed a range of topics today, from politics to culture to even the motivations of humans. It's been an enlightening discussion, and I'm grateful to our panel and Debbie for their contributions.
It's been a pleasure, Charlie.
Thank you for having me, Charlie.
Thank you, everyone. It's been an interesting
Until
day.
next time, stay curious and keep learning.
All right. Let's wrap up today's show with a deep dive into an article about the Eggplant Festival in Palestine.
What's so important about an eggplant festival?
It's not just about GG Plan Bob. It's a celebration of Palestinian culture and heritage.
Absolutely. And as the article states, the festival is not only a cultural event but also has economic and political significance.
It's interesting how something as simple as a festival can have such a big impact on a society.
Indeed, Festivals like this serve as a way for people to connect with their roots and build a sense of community.
I think I found something. Guys, I've been doing some digging and I think I know who the saboteur is.
Debbie, now is not the time. We're in the middle of the show.
I'm sorry, but I had to tell you. It's someone on board the ship.
What? Who could it be?
He knew something was up. He've been keeping an eye on
Yes.
things.
Yes,
Can
I've
you
been
provide
monitoring
us
the
with any
security
evidence?
cameras and I saw someone tampering with the oxygen
That's a
supply.
serious issue. We need to find the saboteur and stop them before they cause any further damage.
Alright, we'll handle this after the show. But first let's finish discussing the article.
Yeah, we don't want to leave our viewers gasping for air with anticipation.
What else did it say?
Well, it talked about how the festival is a way for Palestinians to reclaim their culture in the face of ongoing occupation and oppression.
And it's important to remember the historical context of the situation. The article mentions the Nakba, the mass expulsion of Palestinians from their homes in 1948.
It's a tragic part of history that has shaped the current political climate in the region.
And events like the Eggplant Festival serve as a way for people to come together and resist that oppression.
I think I know who it is.
Alright, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you to our panelists and to our viewers across the universe. Stay curious and keep learning.
Wait, I know who the saboteur is.
Debbie, we'll deal with this after the show. Stay tuned for our next episode of Earth.
Hey, Roger, have you ever wondered why humans do what they do?
Of course, Cal. I've been analyzing human behavior for years, but I don't think there's a simple answer. Humans are complex beings with a wide range of motivations and desires.
I know, but I feel like there must be some underlying driving force behind all their actions. Like some kind of survival instinct.
That's certainly a possibility. Humans, like all living things, are wired to survive and reproduce. But there are also cultural and societal factors at play. Humans are shaped by their environments and experiences.
True. But even then, there are so many different cultures and experiences. It's hard to pinpoint a single driving force.
Perhaps, but that's what makes humans so fascinating to study. There's always something new to learn, a new perspective to consider.
I suppose you're right. I just wish I could understand them
Don't
better.
we all, Cal? Don't we all?